So, I have returned once again today to actually deliver a stream of Revolutionary Girl Utena. And there we go, we're actually working. Are we actually working? Are we good to go? We actually are. So it's actually such a delay between me and the stream itself. It's like a 10-second delay, so I have to wait there 10 seconds to find out. So we actually have retouched cover some more Revolutionary Girl Utena. We left off last time. Holy shit! Like that episode was a complete like. Nanami just went through all of like everything in that episode. Jesus Christ Almighty! Just to kind of be like, oh yeah, I kind of got a brother complex at the end of it. I was like, huh. It's the most roundabout plot in the universe. I loved it. I was actually really goddamn. It was like and then it kind of just ended. You just kind of like, yeah, all right, that's Utena. I mean, there was a point when they were fighting a goddamn kangaroo with boxing gloves on, no less. It wasn't just a kangaroo; it was a kangaroo with boxing gloves. And then you had the rampaging bull as well at one point. That was the other thing to note. And then the kid just like, yeah, I just want her to notice me because if I do all these things and then save her, she will remember. Hello, I'm like, I mean, it's the most wild thing in the universe. And yeah, I mean, that's Utena in a nutshell. Do wonder what we're going to go to this week on this stream, but let's actually find out. So anyway, let us put on Twitter actually gone live. Where are we? Where are we? I don't even know where I am anymore. 2020 has literally just broken me. Alright, I do believe we actually are good to go. We certainly are. So, let us partake in some more Revolutionary Girl Youths and actually see what happens this week. Because goddamn, in the end, Nicholas saved the day, to be honest. We actually will call him Nicholas from now on. There's Seaweed Boy Nicholas. Oh shit! That's actually kind of cool. I think I've heard about this episode quite a bit. In my rounds on the internet, I swear I actually heard about this episode quite a bit. But yeah, I just can't believe that. I can't believe. To be honest, Ikuhara just makes the good shit. It most of the time you kind of like Ikuhara, what's going on here, but most of the time like Ikuhara, this is pretty Kino. This is the Kino shit. That's Ikuhara in a nutshell. He's the Kino man. He's like Yuasa and someone else I'm forgetting top of my brain. There's probably another director out there. I'm trying to remember top of my brain now. Oh yeah, Arno is the other one as well. They're the Kino men. They're the Kino crew. They're the Kino crew. But yeah, I can't believe if we're gonna like take everything else, like the biblical aspects away from the show and focus on like the school itself. School's really dangerous. It's got a rampaging bull. It's got a kangaroo with boxing gloves. It's like, bruh. It's like how has there not been wax in this whole entire school? When you have a goddamn bull running through the halls. Oh man. School went from being like pretty damn cool to being pretty damn dangerous in one episode. Even more than the idea that actually have like duels going on above. Duels. I don't know how you say it. The Britishness really comes out in that word. Oh, Ohio! How's it going? Am I early today? Am I early today? I can't remember. It's like 4 in the afternoon over here. How is it going? Sir, not to discredit what's going on here, but you have a rampaging bull going from the entire school. It's a lot more pressing than goddamn everything else going on right now. I can't believe I took away Choo Choo though. It doesn't really have a play aesthetic to it as well, to be honest, in this show. It honestly feel like you're actually watching scenes in a play, just play out. Even the way the shots are staged as well. It's Ohio gozaimasu, isn't it? Technically speaking, it's not Konbanwa, wa, it's Ohio gozaimasu now. It's Konbanwa wa over here, but Ohio gozaimasu in Japan. She's very cool so far. Oh god, I hope his stomach feels better. Stomach pains are the worst. Like, literally the worst thing in the world. That's interesting though. So it kind of shows that the council like kind of have the, is it ethereal power? How you pronounce it? Like the absolute power. Do actually appreciate that the show's actually kind of just saying, well, the duels themselves actually are kind of pointless when you think about it. They're basically a means to an end in a way. They're a necessary evil as well, I guess. They have to happen. Those most kind of like agree with the idea that they're okay, but some people are like, kind of pointless when you think about it. Even though the actual outcome is kind of cool, Possibly. Bruh. What's everyone's problem with Anthe? Anthe's like, Anthe doesn't do anything wrong. And she doesn't do, she doesn't do anything wrong. Alright, Nicholas. Jesus Christ, that's deep. Why has everyone got an issue with Anthe to begin with? I mean, I don't know. It's like one of those things. I know it's the whole entire idea with the Rose Bride as well, but still, it's kind of like, bruh, just don't be doing that. So even my local police actually think so as well, apparently, because it just came by since it happened. God, that's actually a pretty perfect outline, to be honest. Absolute perfect hair. Like, definition of perfect hair. This is quite dramatic. Quite like the actual shot construction though. Shot construction itself actually is kind of really goddamn good. Oh, it's Yamaguchi. Really? Huh. Oh, young love, how confusing thee be. Oh, young love. Basically, the moral story is, just don't do it. Just don't be like that. When life do be like that, though, just don't be like that, though. We can't really be true to your feelings though in this show, technically speaking, because it's one of those things that a lot of the actual world itself is kind of counteracting the whole entire concept. Because Utena being true to herself, she can't be, because the teachers are like, you can't wear a boy's uniform. It's against the rules. She's just like, well, I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway. So yeah, even though it's technically a massive like it's an oxymoron in a way. It's kind of contradicting its own self. Like, you can't really be true to your feelings when the world itself is constantly saying, well, no, fuck you, basically. So I guess things like Ikuhara's like way of kind of saying like that can't actually work in like anything really. Technically the idea is like the society they place in other shows, especially in shoujo anime and stuff like that, it technically tends to be like a very technically other oh, we'll say afterwards, just in case we actually see something important and adds more stuff to it. It's very interesting though, because it is kind of, it's very evident that he's actually trying to say something about the genre itself. Ooh. Essentially, I think what Ikuhara is trying to say is like the society that are created within shoujo anime most of the time tends to kind of be very like, it's escapism, technically speaking, isn't it? It's what most of the time anime films media tends to be, it's escapism. So what he's saying is, in those shows, they can be true to their own feelings because the actual world doesn't actually say, well, they can't, because in the end, stuff gets fixed. Because it always does, doesn't it? If you ever watch a show about romance, and the romance is kind of, well, I love this man, but I can't be with him just yet, by the end, they're always in love. Because the world actually allows them to be like that. In this one, Ikuhara's basically saying, nah boy, it's not happening, it can't happen, because there's too many societal rules that say they can't be who they want to be, essentially. That's essentially what he's trying to say. So Juri's kind of like the projection of the whole entire idea. She and Utena technically tend, and also I guess Anthony as well, technically tend to be the people who are against the societal rules, because they've realised themselves that stuff like this can't actually happen. It can't carry on like this. While other ones accept it, other people reject it. It's very interesting. I always like shows that tend to do that very often. They tend to actually kind of say, well, look, the actual world they're showing you isn't necessarily true, because technically Utena is a very fantasy-esque world that does have a very realistic angle to it, because it's more in line with what we actually know to be like in real life, because real life has societal rules that do dictate you can't do certain things, even though we always try to actually say, well, no, you can't do this, it's against us in a way. It's interesting, especially for a 90s anime as well. I do like it. Because she's very against everything, isn't she, Utena? Utena doesn't actually accept anything that's actually kind of present within the show. She instead rejects it. Because it's true. In a way, what's the point? What's the point if you can't express yourself in a way, the way you want to express yourself? Because Juri says that this is only giving you nobility and actually the idea of becoming a prince, but it's giving her more. It's giving her the freedom to be who she wants to be. So theoretically speaking, her actually being inside the actual circle of duels in a way is allowing her to actually kind of express that she wants to kind of bring reform, essentially. That's at least what I think he's trying to say. So guessing then it makes sense to why I have so many biblical referencing, because the biblical referencing is kind of like the absolute in a way. If you have if you have more biblical or more like godlike persona inside the show, it's like it's more of an absolute power. So to actually then reject absolute power is very kind of interesting. Konbanwa, Genki desu ka? But this is actually like the first time where it's been like the clash of ideals in a way. Beforehand, it's been more on a macro level, but this time it's more like on a like more larger scale. Oh. Oh. It's very interesting. It's also very interesting how they don't necessarily think that unless they actually break through this and actually get to the actual end of the end of this whole entire battle, are they truly born as well. It's a very kind of like interesting concept. Oh, oh, oh! Episode's really damn good actually, because it kind of it more than anything, it kind of brings most of what this show's trying to say to a head, essentially. Because this show's always been more on a macro level, how it's trying to kind of say a lot of things about the world itself, and also then the worlds that tend to be created. I think this episode kind of was like the episode that kind of puts everything into perspective in a way, like how it is literally like the world is almost saying, no, you can't be the way you want to be. You have to be X, and then Utah's like, well, no, that's just not how it's gonna work here. And another way to shows that kind of do that, because it's one of those things. It's evident. Why would you want to why can't you Utena like wear what she wants to wear? Why can't Utena call herself what she wants to call herself? Why does it have to be X and not anything she wants to be? Essentially, it's always kind of been one of those things that that's why I always like this show for doing so, kind of saying Utena's kind of bucking every single trend known to exist. And kind of being who she wants to be, and everyone's saying, well, no, the only thing this is actually giving you is nobility, and actually then the purpose. But no, it's not. The actual everything that's actually the prince kind of meeting her and everything like that is giving her more than just the idea of nobility. It's giving her the concept of freedom, the concept of being who she wants to be, in a way. And it's actually endlessly fascinating. Because they tend to believe one thing, they tend to believe like, oh, it's just X, when no, it's actually kind of more than that. It's a lot more than that. That's just my thoughts on it. It's a very good episode overall. I did actually really like it. Jury's actually very interesting as a character, because she's the one who's basically realised that essentially a lot of things are kind of pointless. Like, it's one of those things, I guess in a way she's like the antithesis of Utena. Utena hasn't given up and actually kind of saying, look, I don't care, I'm carrying on, this isn't gonna be how they want it to be, essentially. And then you have her, who's kind of realised that things like this have kind of like aren't going so well for her, and essentially what's the point? Like, if I can actually live on, not actually like express my true feelings, and actually kind of living in the darkness, when, practically speaking, let's be real, is actually probably the best of all course of action, because you then you live with more than just like, what's the word? Oh, is it unrequited, isn't it? Unrequited feelings. It's that whole entire idea. She's not just living with unrequited feelings towards her significant other. More so, she's living with the idea of actually kind of trying to suppress everything else around it. And it's kind of like, it's one of those things that it's almost a realization moment that actually not kind of like do that, because it's actually kind of it's dangerous in a way. It's dangerous actually living in that kind of like shadow, because it's just more that it's not just one thing, it's many things. It kind of like what's the word? It kind of creates a cacophony. Is it cacophony? Is that a word? Cacophony? Cacophony. Yeah. A harsh disco done of mixture of sounds. Cacophony's a bit of a weird word, a bit of a weird word to express it using, but technically you know what it means. It's a mixture of different things. It's a cacophony, essentially. Cacophony is utilizing sound, but it technically does make sense in the context, because it's a cacophony of different things. I swear I've heard it used in that kind of context as well at some point, a cacophony of like things. But yeah, as I was saying beforehand, it's one of those things that she's a cluster fizzle, essentially. Yeah, just a cluster fizzle of different things. She's kind of realized that miracles don't tend to happen, miracles don't exist. It's all fabrication, which again, it kind of does reflect the world. It's basically saying to you, the world is literally like, what you know, every single thing you've grown up to be is kind of like essentially just false. It's a false ideal. It's an ideal you believe to actually be true, when in theory it's not. Which I'm guessing kind of is what Yukihara is trying to say about the genre itself. Like, in essence, he's trying to express the concept that shoujo itself is kind of like maybe it's a projection of an exaggerated world, essentially. And then he's basically saying, look, this is the reality. Like, in essence, we have a character who's basically just realized that the world is that way, in a way, and actually the stuff like that just doesn't exist. It can't exist, essentially. And she's given up in a way, and she kind of just went, well, I can just carry on and actually not express my true feelings. And Yutena's not expressing the fact that the world that we know is kind of true. She's basically saying, just don't give in, don't live like that, just kind of live your own way, essentially. Yeah, it's unnatural, supernatural in a way, but in a way, if you don't kind of believe in the miracle itself, it's kind of like, it's one of those things that it just feels empty in a way. The world just kind of feels empty and not actually kind of like Just not. It's not good vibes. It's not good vibes. Essentially, it's no good vibes, bro. It's no good vibes. Right. I do actually like this show for doing that, because it's a really interesting show, especially it's kind of like it's kind of doing a lot, especially for like the 90s as well, because the 90s, don't get me wrong, because I've read stuff that kind of does in theory tell you that the things you know essentially are basically false. Fire Punch does it. Fire Punch is an expression that essentially every single main character is lying to you. Like it's just a false, it's a forced ideal essentially. Chainsaw Man does the exact same thing, but with the shonen MC essentially. This show kind of does it in general. It kind of says, but why not be able to express yourself? Why does Utena have to actually kind of abide by what they say? Why can't she kind of just do what she wants to do? And she kind of just rejects everything. I kind of like that whole entire idea. It's good. It's interesting. It's very fascinating. And always kind of, that's why my favorite shows are the ones that kind of always just kind of say, nah, bro. Just, it kind of is a deconstruction essentially, I guess. Anyway, let's actually watch episode 8. So let's actually start this thing in 3, 2, 1. Start this thing absolutely now. Oh shit! Just realized something. Let's start the timer. But yeah, it's one of those things that it's very interesting, because I always because it's very evident because she rejects the whole entire idea about the bride as well, and it's one of those things that even like the duels I can't say that word correctly, I'm too British. Duels themselves are once again a like means to have to happen. It's just a thing that has to kind of happen because it's a clash of ideals in a way. Most of the time it can in theory kind of possibly not have to take place, but 9 out of 10 times it has to. Even though they know it's kind of one of those things that some reject the idea that it will in theory do something, others are kind of like, we have to, because it has to it's the only way we can actually like revolutionize this world in a way. So once again, it's the whole entire idea. Some reject it, some accept it. The exact same kind of idea with the idea of the societal rules. Some accept them, some reject them in a way. Utena is kind of the character who rejects them. She comes along and basically says, well, no, this isn't how it's going to go. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I respect her a lot for doing so, because actually she's probably one of the more, like, I would say fascinating main characters that I've seen in anime. Again, I've only ever seen this like a couple of times. Like, done very well. So it's interesting they kind of do in theory always recur, like, the past as well. I'm guessing it's probably one more of the more comedic episodes, I'm guessing. Possibly, maybe. Strangely enough, I actually don't really get affected that much by hot food anymore. God damn. Nanami just wants to watch the world burn. Truly the most spiciest of all stories. God damn, these are like it's like 2013 Tumblr post, like level of philosophical. God damn it, Nicholas. Calm down. Truly like the most like grave of all situations we're currently in. Who would have known that would have been forwarded by just Curry itself? Who would have known? Let's be real for a second. It actually was a huge explosion. Like, really kind of huge. Seriously, what's everyone's problem with Anze? God damn it. Leave the poor girl alone. She slapped back. Anthe. I'm so proud. Is this a I see what's happened. I see what's happened here. So that explosion was so large, actually completely switched personalities. How does Nanami create these like these problems? How did she do it? Anthe's the only person I know that actually can create a problem by creating it actually even worse than it already was. To start off with, like the first second. does he just phase into existence sometimes, old Nicholas? Oh, I miss the whole laugh. We need them back. We need the whole laugh back. It's so good. It's the best kind of laugh in the universe. The first question the first question to ask is like, how does one acquire a spice so goddamn like spicy? It kind of like they're just going as well. Is there a goddamn runway in the school as well? How big is this goddamn school? How did they acquire such an exotic spice? And how does one reverse said spice? Nanami is like an anomaly in this whole entire like universe. She somehow just creates like she somehow just creates like problems when it actually wasn't one to begin with, like amazingly. She's great. I love Nanami. Just somehow just creates like the most like outlandish problems in the universe. Somehow, every single time. Has a brother complex once it's killed by a goddamn kangaroo with boxing gloves and also a goddamn rampaging bull. Ugh. It's seaweed boy. Stumps a seaweed boy. Jesus Christ almighty. Nah, bro, just take a shot off, please. He's actually just a piece of seaweed. It's just a piece of seaweed. So look at the real me. It takes a shit off. It's actually a seaweed. It's like, told you. I knew it from the beginning. Knew it. She just got KO'd by a falling elephant. At this point, Nanami has really bad. Also, snakes. Don't forget the snakes from like the first time she actually went to the dorm. At this rate, she has terrible luck when it comes to animals. Just threw his things into a dumpster. Just threw his things into a dumpster. giving more reason to call him Dumpster Seaweed Boy. At this point, who has worse luck? Her or Subaru from ReZero? So you're basically telling me that this entire time Seaweed Boy is just a dumb boy. He's a dumb seaweed boy. Sure as hell wasn't Rosie, to be honest, dude. It's Nicholas and Seaweed Boy together in one scene. I can't believe he's actually surfing elephants as well. Indeed. Bruh. Bruh, indeed. The largest of all and longest of all bras that could, in theory, be present in the universe. It just says nah man on it. It's just the word nah and just man and just that's it. Full stop. Oh no. How the hell did she get out of the water, though? She was stuck in the middle of the water. Thank you. I'm glad my laugh actually is... I always kind of thought my laugh was kind of weird, but I'm glad if it actually is, if it's alright. Now the real question is, if the spice is in the air and actually kind of very change personalities, is it going to change everyone else around as well? Because it's in the air now. She's essentially just caused one massive issue. I actually can't believe I actually made Seaweed Boy into actually an alright character. Who knew getting punched in the face really hard actually does in theory fix you as a person? When in doubt, just punch a dude in the face. Oh no. I can't believe it. They changed him completely. So all it took was a punch to the face, and also then explosive courage actually kind of changed that boy into someone who's actually mildly bearable. Does he ever come back? That's the real question. Does he ever come back? Does he ever try to like do anything? That is the burning question the show asks now. I have no idea, but I want to know. This show is really this show actually has like one really serious episode that actually doesn't very deal with like the deconstruction of the shoujo genre, and it just randomly goes into an episode about explosive curry. It's like, and it doesn't even feel like a tonal shift. That's the problem. It just feels like, you know what? All right. The incredible power of Kino Man himself, Ikuhara. Can't believe it. The Kino Man himself can actually do it. I know he's a trash boy again. God damn it. For a second there, I was like, he might be okay. He might not be a piece of shit. I was rooting for him. I trusted you, and you got and done that. I'm like, bruh. God damn you, Seaweed Boy. God damn you, piece of shit, Seaweed. Jesus Christ. You do not betray my trust, alright? My trust means a lot. You don't betray that. You don't betray that shit, boy. Every single person I trust always I trust so many people, and I always get burned out by it. Every single person I trust just betrays me in the end. Ah, heartbreak. Alright, let's say watch episode 9. Alright, we get to go, I think. Yes, we certainly are. But he ain't good. He ain't good boy anymore. He ain't a good boy anymore. He was like, I was rooting for him. I was like, he's changing. He's changing. He's realised he's a piece of shit, and now he's actually not a piece of shit anymore. But no, a piece of shit in the end. I'm just gonna go and cry. Anyways, it's actually what's episode 9 in 3, 2, 1. It's actually what's episode 9 absolutely now. The only thing I actually can do properly when it comes to cooking is actually make a really damn good pizza. Pretty good at pizza making. That's my secret. That's my secret art, I guess. But yeah, I'm kind of shocked for like a second. And I was like, oh shit, he's changing. Our seaweed boy's changing. But alas, as Ogata has proved to me, and also Makima has proved to me, don't trust anyone because they do betray you in the end. I'm very glad you actually are enjoying it. It's very fun as well. I do actually really like this series. It's very unique. It's very unique. Does actually kind of still... Ikuhara kind of does have that very unique, just that very unique voice. That it's just like, he can make an episode that really deconstructs the entire genre. And it has an episode where they just swap bodies for like a little while. And then it's actually like, yeah, I accept that. I can see that. Only him can do it. Oh shit, they're at it again. They're at it again. Oh, do you love him? He's a piece of shit. He's at least told actually has like, he's got no nipples, so he's got something going for him, but other boy, old seaweed boy, is a piece of shit. Like legitimate, like just a piece of shit. I don't think he's like inherently evil. I just think he's just a piece of shit. Which is basically almost inherently evil, but it's kind of okay. In certain scenes, you're kind of like, alright. Kind of like Ogata from Golden Kamuy. Ogata from Golden Kamuy is a piece of shit most of the time, but you kind of like, he's kind of cool though. So you accept it. Even though he does evil things, you kind of like, okay. Alright, bro. Oh, it's happening. It's going down, boys. No nipples versus seaweed. There's no nipples versus seaweed. Bruh. It's got done by a frog. God damn it, Choo Choo, what you like that for? Actually was just screaming at Choo Choo just then. Bruh. Oh. Oh. A fluke, you say? A fluke, you say? It's his pride. That's the problem. If he loves it, he's got a really terrible way of showing it. It's like, goddamn. It's like, do you love her? It's like, yeah. It's like, well, you've got a shitty way of showing it. Seaweed boy. Koyasu actually really does play the role of Tugger really damn well. Oh, I wonder. Do we actually find out how he progresses into a piece of shit seaweed boy? That's the real question. Was it Marley symbolic? Isn't that against the law? You can't just open a coffin. Ah. Do you think the actual reason why he doesn't actually have any nipples was because he did a deal with the devil? He has long, silky red hair, but for the price of his nipples. Is that the reason? Well, once again, it does actually highlight the possibility of actually how not good it is to actually do what they're doing, because nothing's eternal. So possibly the end goal is actually just false. You say I'm crazy, but I bet that's actually the twist of the whole entire series. Toga gave up his nips for the actual long red hair. Small price to pay for the goddamn awesome hair. God damn it! That's a strong push. Goddamn broke the glass. I mean, it correlates, doesn't it? Long hair, long red hair, no nips. Small price to pay. I guess it is kind of interesting though. Not the whole lack of nips, but segue. The idea of what's eternal, because it's true. It's one of those things that the possibility of like the eternal concept that lies beyond might in theory actually be false. Once again, trivializing the actual overall like motivation this whole entire show has. He's so goddamn perfect. I actually hate it. Like, he's so perfect. It irritates me. You know when you see someone so goddamn like you're just like, fuck, he's so perfect. Bruh. It's like, nah, bro, he actually has nipples. It's like, fuck, not again. And thus, that is the tea. Bruh, Santa's real. I met him. I met Santa Claus though. Can't say he's not real. I met him. Went to the North Pole and everything. You can't just say Joe, the North Pole ain't real. I fucking went there. I met Santa Claus. He said, "Hey, you're pretty good." I was like, "Thanks, bro." Can't just tell me he's not real. Accepting that. Not as if I bought all my Christmas presents every single damn year. All right. Santa's real, all right. Leave me alone. Santa's real. I met him. And what if the castle just goes, "No, bro, you're a piece of shit," and just rejects him completely? Honestly, Ikahara's kind of like, he's the dude. He's the goddamn dude. I don't know, Santa seems pretty real to me. Tooth Fairy, on the other hand, bunch of baloney. Can't just tell me Tooth Fairy exists. There's no such thing as a Tooth Fairy. He steals away teeth. That's kind of messed up. Just fucking drowning. He deserved that, to be honest. Should have just punched him awake. You dumb boy. He's just like, where is she? He's like, that's what we're meant to be asking you, bro. In the end, we actually find out Seaweed Boy is actually just a dumb boy. And that is the revelation of the entire series. Wrong goddamn cue. So I do believe the actual world is transforming. I really feel sorry for Anthe in this world. Like, goddamn, it's just everyone's out for her for some reason. Like, she just hasn't done anything wrong. She's just kind of there. She's doing her own thing. Just leave her alone. Jesus Christ, they actually pissed off God. She's like, nah, bro, not happening. You gone fucked up. Just got squished. The boy got squished. Interesting enough, the actual like end of the world thing actually has its own set of subset rules as well. Very interesting. So I'm guessing he's like who was the person in the Bible who Icarus. Isn't it? It's Icarus that wanted to actually fly higher towards heaven and then burned. Oh, he's alive. I thought he actually got squished. I thought, shit, he actually got squished. Dude, accept the fact he actually lost, boy. Utena. Not to break the moment, but there's a dude with a sword just coming right for you. Bruh. I'm sorry. Did No Nips just come in the way? Did No Nips just like sacrifice himself just now? He goddamn did. Damn it, No Nips. I'm sorry. PG-13 sacrificed himself. Didn't actually sacrifice himself. Oh, what a dude. Is it Icarus Greek mythology or is it the Bible? I can't remember. What? No, it's a story in the Bible about it as well. He wants to fly closer to the sun. He wants to fly closer to heaven, but it's where the saying they get too close to the sun, you burn comes from. It comes from the fact that he had wax on his wings to actually fly higher, went closer to the sun, and actually then burn. And actually fell to the ground, if I remember correctly. If I remember the storyline itself. It's in the Bible. Oh, well. Let's have a look. I might be wrong. No, Greek mythology, you're actually right. I don't know the fucking Bible now, apparently. Don't know the fucking Bible anymore. 2020 do be a vibe check for me when you think about it. Well, it's both, really, technically speaking. He's Icarus, and then the actual thing's a Tower of Babylon in a way. I guess is Ikuhara mix up the Bible and Greek mythology as well? Am I the one doing this? Am I giving him credit when I'm actually not being wrong? I don't know. Who knows? I could have sworn I was in the Bible. You know, you're just like, bruh, I swear I've seen that in the Bible. Something you said on a daily basis, bruh, I've seen that in the Bible. Nah, but very, very good episode, I must admit. I can't remember the Bible anymore. It's been years actually been doing religion. All right, I've been out of that world for like 6 years. God damn it, Nanami. He's just been a cool dude and actually got stabbed. Well, slashed, really. Oh shit! And then Toa just goes and just does the thing at the end as well. God damn! I'm gonna go over that line again. Just actually read it again. Yeah, it does feel like that. There's a lot of metaphorical meanings in in this anime. Like the idea that in a way our seaweed boy. God fucking damn, my chair's falling down. I just moved like 1 centimeter and it just fell down. Fuck! Alright. God, get up, jeez. Why can't you just catch me a break, universe? Let me enjoy my seating arrangement without falling down. God! Fuck, alright. Chair. This stream proves I need a goddamn new chair. Alright, I sit frontwards. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'll sit like this. I sit like this, alright? I get it, alright? The world hates me. The world hates me, alright? God, I want to sit eloquently, okay? And I can't. Anyway. Yeah, so, interesting episode overall. I mean, Nicholas coming in to save the goddamn day. Yeah, my chair's always like this. I sit like that, it will fall. If I put my legs up and actually be like, sit with my legs crossed, because it's cool and shit, it will just fall. It won't fall now, because it's actually been alright, but twice it will just fall down. I'm like, bruh, just let me enjoy my seating position. I like sit with my legs crossed, alright? It's kind of cool, and it's cool and shit, but it won't let me do it. Anyway, so it does feel like I kind of appreciate the show actually does have its own subset of rules as well, even in like the end of the world. So someone who's just kind of like, hey mate, I want to go and get that eternal shit, and then the world's kind of like, yeah, no, it's not happening. That's not happening today. And then boom, it happens. We call him Nippolus. That's his name. It's Nippolus and Nippolus. That's what we name him. We call him Nippolus. We call Toga Nippolus. Seaweed Boy Nippolus. I've got to figure out like other nicknames for the characters. I feel like if anyone actually watches these streams and actually just hears me call Toga Nippolus, they're actually gonna call him that from now on. They actually will just like associate Toga with a no nip man. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but it's just that's how it works. That's how it works here. We have nicknames for characters. So yeah, I do actually kind of like that. There's actually a subset of rules in the actual kind of like in the upstairs place. We call it the upstairs. It's kind of interesting because it's one of those things that why wouldn't the person have tried to kind of like break the rule essentially, like kind of just go, well shit, okay, we've got to do all this, why don't we just go there straight away now and get it over and done with? That would actually kind of be like one of those things of why haven't they tried that already? And I guess seeing our boy Seaweed Boy coming in saying, oh yeah, by the way, I'm gonna go up there and try it, it's actually kind of neat because he actually didn't really kind of prove that you can't break the rules. You have to kind of do it via the means. So if you don't have the Rose Bride, you actually can't in theory just march up there and go, well, you know what, fuck you, and actually go in there. It ain't happening. God's just kind of like, yeah, no, bruv, get out of here with that. I don't want no nip man. Poor dude. Sacrifice his own nipples for the goddamn greater cause of hair. Good cause nonetheless, but terrible cause all round. So yeah, it's an interesting idea because it's one of those things that, again, while this whole entire show does in theory deal with the idea of like breaking societal rules, even the concept of actually kind of like breaking it's true, it's anime censoring, but I always say that they just have no nips. It's just a thing. It's just there's no nipples in anime. They just don't exist. It's just gone. It's interesting because it's one of those things that they're breaking societal rules, but then even while some actually can in theory be broken, others that are more absolute in the concept of like this place above is absolute. They can't break the rules. They actually have to kind of go via the means that actually has in theory been set out. And it is one of those things, it kind of proves you there and then that Utena can't break out of where she is currently. She actually has to go through this entire like trial to actually kind of get there. It's one of those things, I guess, in a way, it's one of those things that it kind of might in theory be broken by the end, in a way, like how Utena might in theory be able to actually kind of bend and actually kind of get up and actually kind of be like, mate, nah, and actually kind of just break the entire thing. I do try to be different when it comes to how how I do these things. It might in be broken by the end, but it's yet to be seen kind of idea, because clearly she can't actually break away from anything when it comes to this absolute place, which actually then dictates that this place is like heaven in a way. Like, in essence, the place they're actually kind of dueling at and actually kind of then going towards is heaven. The eternal concept is heaven itself in a way. And also kind of like how it does also then say that nothing is eternal in a way. Nothing you have in this show can in theory be eternal. That being love, that being friendship, that actually being I don't know what the third one is. Those two are more kind of prominent things, but there's a third one somewhere. I guess nipples in a way. Maybe nipples can in theory be the other one, but nipples are eternal. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's actually kind of an interesting idea, like how we have this set out idea. We have this place they're going towards. It's like eternity is the actual outcome, but then clearly what's been shown already, it kind of says to you, no, there's no such thing as eternal. Utena herself says there's no such thing as eternity. Eternity doesn't exist, which then at that point in time, from a very, very young age, was rejecting that whole entire idea already, kind of saying, what's the point existing when you're going to die anyway, which actually is kind of morbid, especially from a young age. Actually kind of say, yeah, by the way, life itself ain't cutting it anymore. And she just kind of just rejects the whole entire idea. So again, it kind of then proves to you that the futility of them kind of doing what they're doing. Though they say themselves in a very kind of like philosophical way, which actually is kind of like bruh, that they haven't themselves existed yet until they actually get to that place and actually kind of then revolutionize the world. It's actually then interesting to say that is what they're doing, even more so now, kind of like good? Is what they're doing anything more than just a means to an end? Are they just doing this for the sake of doing it? Is there any outcome for them other than the fact of actually being disappointed or actually kind of like breaking as a person? Because clearly that is actually the idea. Because more so, what this actually is doing is kind of bringing out the more nuances in the characters. Like, in essence, bringing out that you can't trust anyone. Of itself is kind of like just kind of there. It's just a thing, I guess. And yeah, it's one of those things that kind of proves you there and then, like, what's the point? Every single episode, this show's kind of proving to you that there is no point to what they're doing. Essentially, it's futile what they're doing. They're just getting there. It's just like it's an endless cycle of just proving to themselves, actually deluding themselves so much that there actually is this kind of like big place they're going towards. Which is kind of very interesting. So again, it's one of those things that kind of, it's deconstructing this idea of like the actual eventual outcome. Like, in essence, how it is in a way meaningless. There's nothing to it. It's just an ending, so to speak. And in essence, Ikuhara is basically saying, every single thing you follow, every single thing you're kind of going towards, essentially is just a means to an end. It's just getting there. It's just an ending. What matters most is actually how you get there, and actually what happens to you as you get there. It's a journey more than this. It's a journey there more than this. They're more than just this destination in a way. Which I guess is kind of it's really fascinating in a way, because again, it doesn't actually happen that very often. You don't get shows very often saying, well, yeah, everything you kind of know, it just isn't that good. Essentially, like, you've been following all these things. Essentially, it's kind of worthless in a way. In essence, the whole entire idea of the shoujo kind of like world in a way, kind of being exaggerated. How things don't technically tend to actually go the way you think, because it's not meant to go that way. That's not how life is. And actually, Utena itself, even though it's presented as more of a mystical kind of world, is more realistic in that way. Then you have the whole entire idea, and also realize actually been recording this whole entire time. Then you have everything else going on as well, especially the eternity, the idea of the actual eventual outcome. It's all kind of saying to you that it's all meaningless. The show itself isn't meaningless. It's just the destination the show's going towards itself is meaningless. Though granted, it could in theory be a red herring. It could be saying to us it's all meaningless. It doesn't mean anything at this point. But then at the end, it might actually prove to be a meaningful experience. But it's not denouncing the anime itself. It's not denouncing the writing itself. The writing itself is telling you that. Ikuhara's doing it on purpose. He's telling you straight, look, what you know is false. It's like even the two silhouettes tell you, like the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, everything like that is false. It's a false ideals we get told as kids. It's what we believe to be true until we realize it's all false. The same thing applies with the actual kind of like the narrative itself. The narrative itself is just an existence. It's a place they have to go towards. It's a thing that actually characters inhabit, but itself is kind of meaningless in a way. Once again, the other thing I actually attribute this to is Fire Punch. Fire Punch does the exact same thing. It tells you there and then that these things are false. They don't exist. They're just a means to an end. Same thing with Chainsaw Man as well. Chainsaw Man does that quite often. It tells you that these things are just there. They're not necessarily things you should in theory be believing yourself, because it's not true. It's just a means to an end. So it kind of then proves to you there and then that you're not necessarily following something that is kind of like true. It's just you're following Utena and her experiences getting there, and actually kind of reforming a lot of what's going on here, actually reforming those characters along the way. And above that, it's actually very fascinating. I actually do really like this show for doing that. 9 episodes in, it actually has in theory done a lot more than what most shows tend to do in like 60 episodes. Like Ikuhara's kind of like just deconstructing the entire genre in like 2 episodes. Actually, kind of said to you like, yeah, it's not true. Nothing you get told, nothing you believe in these kind of storylines is true. It's just a means to an end, because in the end, shit gets fixed. Which actually is kind of true. Like in essence, you actually watch any anime, watch any shonen anime, watch any shoujo anime, watch any kind of genre besides those more realistic, it kind of proves to you, in the end, shit gets fixed. It gets fixed. Actually, all things kind of get better. It's escapism. It's not anything more than that. He's not telling you anything grander. Granted, in the middle of it, some of the shows do tend to actually kind of look at it more like broad perspective, actually kind of doing through give you something more meaty, like Fruits Basket, for example. But other shows tend to actually kind of just exist as escapism, exist as to kind of just tell you that stuff does get better, and stuff is actually kind of like stuff exists to kind of just make you feel okay. But then you kind of then tell yourself, is this actually kind of it's like it kind of tells you there and then, can you actually believe what you're watching? Can you actually believe this to be true? Would this actually happen in real life? And then Ikuhara's basically saying no, but presenting that in a lens that you understand to be the kind of like the mystical, the fantastical, kind of that whole entire idea, and it's really damn good. Berserk is just god damn it. we don't talk about Berserk, alright? Berserk is just, and Panty Stocking as well. We don't talk about those 2 shows, and also manga as well. Berserk is just depression. God, I've never been so depressed reading a manga my entire life. Besides also Banana Fish. Banana Fish also as well. Banana Fish is also kind of very very realistic in actually how it approaches most things. The same thing happens. It's like most things tend to be very Hollywood. That's why when I used to like review Banana Fish, I used to say that Banana Fish is very much like La La Land, because La La Land presents the more like realistic Hollywood, the Hollywood you don't ever see, because it's one of those things that they tend to kind of delude you to believing that stuff tends to kind of don't talk about that at all. Saki Drop It doesn't exist. The anime is alright. Oh boy, the manga doesn't exist. So yeah, it's one of those things that La La Land's also one of those things that proves to you that there's actually like a realistic side to it, but Berserk is also kind of like that. I guess Berserk's kind of its own like idea as well. I've got to look more into that whole entire idea, but again, I've always liked shows that kind of do and through present like no filth, no. Don't taint my chat with that anime. Not in anime, it's just don't taint it. Don't taint it. It's one of those things that I like shows that do in theory tend to I hope you're actually doing free kind of get your perspective out of it. If you're actually doing free, do so. That would actually kind of be kind of cool. You're actually doing free, like look at the actual don't worry about it, it's fine. I'm actually glad as well. If anyone actually gets any perspective on the whole entire show, I'm really glad, because this show is really kind of good. It's a really kind of deep show once you go beyond just the actual like surface level. It's a very kind of fascinating show that does deal with a lot of things that doesn't tend to get shown very often, because what's the point in a way? What's the point kind of telling us that reality itself is kind of sucks, we already know it. But this show at least kind of proves to you, like with Juri's character, that she knows that miracles don't happen, and the world that we understand to be true isn't. And color characters as well kind of does in theory present that as well, even though I haven't seen that show in like 20 years. It's been years since I actually watched that show, so I need to go back and watch that show one day. But yeah, above all else, this show is really damn good. Like, it's fucking amazing. I love this show to bits. Like 9 episodes in, it's upper echelon of like it's more or less like how Fire Punch was for me. Like how when Volume 2 just came out and just completely revolutionized how I viewed everything. It has a healthier ending, even though it kind of does present a very yeah. I do actually wonder where this show's going to go towards, though. I wonder what the actual eventual outcome will be, because it's not got a happy ending along the horizon. It's kind of very much more in line that it's kind of gonna end like not very well. By the sounds of it, it just has that kind of feeling towards it. But we'll have to wait and see. So that is me done for today. I've got to lie down for a long while. Actually, just contemplate life itself, as they say. Ikuhara's kind of opened my eyes a little bit. Just kind of maybe just think about things. So, as always, Goshicho arigatou gozaimasu. Boku no doga wo moshiroi to omotara ine ya channel toruku wo onegaishimasu. So, if you have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube and doing free, leave a like, because indeed, actually I'm glad. I always will do 3. I tend to actually just say 2. I tend to say 2 just in case something happens in the middle of the streams, but most of the time it'll be 3. I'd say always do 2 just in case. I'm very glad it's actually perfect as well. I'm getting better gladly. So actually have enjoyed and doing free, leave a like on YouTube, because indeed it's been quiet. But actually have enjoyed these streams and doing free, leave a sub, because indeed it's been quiet. But if you have then enjoyed these whole entire streams as a whole on YouTube and doing free, follow me on Twitter, or join Discord as well, because both do have me quite a lot, and both will then tell you when these streams go live and any other streams I do as well. But until next time, some more Revolutionary Girl Utena. See you guys later.